Here, okay. Well, viewers, definitely mention your predictions down in the comments. But if you're asking mine, it's going to be hard because there's so many talented drivers out on the grid. But I gotta go for TJ in P1 from McLaren. I think he's got some speed. He's definitely going to be going for this one. I'm going to go Charo in P2 and probably Warriors in P3.
Oh boy. So
Your turn.
What I'm gonna say. I know. It's like you said. It's really difficult because like there's so much on the line for so many drivers today. But you have some wild cards up there. I'm gonna go with Little Charles P1. I was in practice with him earlier. He put down some really good laps, and he did the same here in qualifying. I think he's got nothing to lose, not in the championship fight. So I think he goes P1. I am going to say that Warriors goes P2, and then I am going to go with the newly crowned silver champion and yesterday's race winner, Thibaut, to pick up a third spot.
Ooh, that's a good prediction there. I like that a lot. Definitely gotta agree with that one. And yeah, really anything can happen. I think we were discussing this quite a bit in this formation lap and before the race as well about how competitive this grid is. It's so close. And that's what makes it so exciting as we come into the final 4 rounds of the season. But a quick thing I want to mention is strategy as we get the predicted pit stop strategy out on our screen as we're talking about this. So it says soft to hard is a great option. It definitely is, but I prefer to go a soft medium strategy. What do you think, Camden? I know you and me both raced silver last night. So what's your thoughts on strategy?
Yeah, I think soft medium is the obvious way to go. You know, the strategy says soft hard, that's what Jeff says, but I'm going to say Jeff is wrong in this scenario. You can easily take the softs like 7 or 8 laps, maybe 6. We may see some people pit on lap 6, but I think soft medium is definitely the way to go. We have some people at the back starting on the medium, so obviously they go medium soft, but yeah, there's definitely no reason to put on the hard tires, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. The hard's not really the best tire in this stage unless you get damaged quite early. Maybe you want to pit onto the hard compound tires, but definitely a soft and medium strategy is an option. But of course, if you look at the skies, viewers, we have dark clouds. Could we see some rain in the Grand Prix? We will find out in due time. As it looks like the formation lap has ended. We are ready to go for the Belgian Grand Prix. 22 laps await us as we prepare for the Golden Class race, round 11 of the Season 13 Championship. All right. So here we go. It is the Belgian Grand Prix, and we're waiting for those lights. So where are they? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's a 4th, and there is the 5th, and the final one as we get the lights underway here today in Belgium. It's a great start for the front runners. Great start for Charles. Great start for both of the McLarens coming down to La Sauce, and we see an Aston Martin going wide, but that is D'Angelo, who's up at the P1 of the Grand Prix already from 3rd on the grid, and his teammate is now joining him. It is McLaren 1-2 up to a Rouge and Radio, we go! McLaren leads us away! D'Angelo from 3rd on the grid had the perfect start off of the front runners and now leads us away, but the slipstream down to turn 5. His teammate is now going to go try, and side by side D'Angelo is going to try and keep it going, but the 2 McLarens made contact! The 2 teammates made contact, and there's a lot of drivers off the track. A Ferrari was hit by the spinning McLaren there, but D'Angelo leads the Grand Prix, but it is, unfortunately, the golden #1 rule that has been broken. Don't hit your teammate, and the McLarens have done that, and that is incredibly unfortunate for the British team.
Wow, you mentioned it before, teammates, and Warriors already has a penalty, so trouble for the championship. Guys, Gaëni Weave has gone up to P4. He could be in a really good spot by the end of this race. We saw Bagash have an issue in Radion. TJ, this could be a huge point in his season right here if he doesn't get back up to the front.
Yeah, this was huge, and unfortunately, it was caused by his teammate. We don't know exactly who caused the incident between the 2 drivers, but there was contact, and unfortunately, TJ is down to P15 now because he's made the move on switchback in the AlphaTauri. So TJ making up some time, but like you mentioned, this could be huge for the championship. He is the championship leader, remember, viewers, so this could affect everything and put the put the championship back into Warrior's hands. This is critical for the championship as D'Angelo leads us away by 1.2 seconds to Charles in P2 Rockstar. P3, we have a Ferrari going down the inside on Tebow, the silver class champion. The Ferrari up into P4 now. The Mercedes down to P5, but is Tebow going to try and get the slipstream? Up to a Rouge we go. Are they going to try and make it go side by side? No, they're not. Gunny Weave stays ahead. Tebow down to P5. Warriors is a little bit further behind, but now Tebow is going to try and go around the outside. Up the hill we go. Down the Camel Straight, the Ferrari and the Mercedes are side by side, and Tebow gets ahead. Into turn 5 we go. The Mercedes is ahead. The Ferrari is down to P5, and now we have a long train heading down all the way to around P9.
Man, I don't know how we haven't had a safety car yet. Crazy stuff so far. We saw STX on the first lap go off the track. He's only lost 1 spot, so he is doing fine right now, and it looks like he's battling with the Alfa Romeo, and he gets that position.
He does, yeah. He made a move into that hairpin, and then officially made the move off of the exit. As we have switched back out of the race, that could be a safety car. That might be the opportunity for a VSC or a safety car to come out, but no safety car yet. And I gotta say, it's a very similar situation to Silver Class, as no safety car has been called out, and we expected a few maybe to come out due to the contact out on track, but nothing yet.
Yeah, and with this, it looks like the top 4 have pulled away. Got Any Wheat is outside of DRS. He's using his overtake to try and get back within that 1 second gap, but he has a lot of cars behind him, so he really needs to get back up in that 1 second gap.
He does. He definitely does. And he's also got Warriors right behind him in the Williams car. So both Ferraris need to make some time up, as now Tebow is going for the move on Rockstar. The Mercedes driver could be going for this. Down to turn 1 we head to. And that Mercedes could be making the move on Rockstar anytime soon. DRS is now enabled on lap 3. And it's just getting better and better for the newly crowned Season 13 Silver Class champion. As Godney Weave is also under pressure from Warriors. As we mentioned, that Williams driver coming through the field. He may have gotten a warning, though, at that particular corner, as it looks like the Williams could be going for the move on the Ferrari, but we have to keep an eye on the battle for P3 as well, as it looks like there's actually no change, and there's no change to the battle for P5 either, so that will continue on to the next lap. But meanwhile, as we see a few moves being made through the field, Camden, what is your thoughts on the sky? It is starting to get darker and darker, in my opinion. Could we see some rain in the next few laps?
Knowing Belgium, I wouldn't be surprised if the rain does happen, and it could really be beneficial for guys like TJ, who fell back early in this race, as Nico John just gets a penalty right there. But keep in mind ERS too. It looks like Godney Weave is using a lot of it right now. ERS would not be a factor if it were to rain. So
Warriors is off!
Whoa, look out. Looks like we have an incident there. No safety car or VSC still.
And that is the championship contender, who has now been passed by the championship leader. So what turned out to be a pretty good race so far for Warriors has turned into a very difficult stage in the Grand Prix. Sorry to interrupt you there, Camden, but we had a lot of action going on right there as we had a Williams spinning.
No, totally understandable. I mean, it's crazy. We've only had 3 laps, and all this has already happened. And like I said, no safety car. Like, I would think my commentator's curse would come into play by now, but somehow it hasn't.
I know. I mean, we haven't seen anything so far. We're on lap 4, and no safety car or even a VSC, which is very surprising, especially for a track like Spa, where, I mean, in previous real-time F1 races, there's been many different safety cars, like back in 1998, when we had that crazy incident. I think it was like 13 different cars in the battle, but hopefully we don't get that today, as we see STX, as actually, I'm gonna forward my attention to the race lead, as Charles has taken over the race lead of the Belgian Grand Prix off D'Angelo in P2, Rockstar in the battle as well, and so sorry, viewers, we did not catch that on camera, but wow, Charles now into the lead of the Grand Prix from pole. He slipped down to around 3rd position, but has retaken the lead off of D'Angelo, and the Haas has now got around 0.5 of a second to the McLaren driver. Where did he find the time to gain on D'Angelo and eventually make the pass on lap 4?
I have noticed D'Angelo has used very little ERS, so that could be a factor as well. Is D'Angelo really pushing right now, or is he saving his stuff? Charles has a little less ERS, so he has been pushing a little bit harder in the last couple of laps, but D'Angelo definitely has the pace, and it looks like he's staying with Charles, but I don't know, Charles got almost a half-second gap already.
He does, but I think D'Angelo is going to gain the time here, because remember how powerful the slipstream is down into... Oh, is that Senna out of the race? And that might be a safety car, as it is a full course safety car. We finally get it, and Senna is out of the race. That is at the exit of, I think, turn 14, as Charles comes into the pit lane. As expected, the rest of the field follow in, and this has really changed the entire fabric of the Grand Prix, and now strategies have been flown out wide out the window.
Yeah, keep in mind the double stack too. Both Ferraris are in the pits, so Fire Up Flow is probably going to have a slow pit stop, and it looks like all the medium drivers are staying out. Boy, this safety car could not have come at a worse time when it comes to strategy.
Oh, absolutely, yes. This is horrible for all those drivers. It now means that everyone on the softs now can come into the pit lane onto the medium tire as well. So that's good for them. As actually, it looks like we actually have Rafito in the Alpine who is pit onto the hard compound tire. So he has decided to pit onto the hards, and maybe he thinks it's a little bit too early for the medium compound tires.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a little bit of a stretch for the mediums, but I do think they can make it to the end, considering that we are going to have a couple of laps under the safety car right here. So really, you're looking at starting back up on lap 7 or 8, which is about where you want to pit off the soft tires to get onto the mediums. So I like the call, but I think I would have gone onto the medium tires here.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think most of the field agrees with us. But who knows? I mean, hards might come into play at the end of the Grand Prix. We'll see. Maybe this is the winning strategy, you know? We'll find out. So, another thing I want to quickly mention is that Charles come out in P4, and what's really good for the Haas driver is that he's got his teammate right behind him, and that means that Jack might be able to defend against D'Angelo and help Charles to extend his gap off of the McLaren driver, who's currently in P6. So, this is good news for the Haas team, and good news for Charles of him possibly winning this Belgian Grand Prix.
Yeah, and I know that they work together well, those Haas teammates, so Jack could absolutely be a factor in helping Charles get away from D'Angelo. And you know who the biggest winners are of the safety car are TJ and Warriors. They absolutely needed this safety car. They fixed their wing. They're on fresh tires. I think you definitely have to look at those guys making up a lot of spots here on the safety car. They just have to be careful to not be too aggressive and get themselves into the same scenario that they started the race in by getting into a crash.
Yeah, would you say they would be maybe taking this just carefully coming through the field, not going over aggressively, and kind of just taking this easy, just make a few overtakes when you can and not go for some risky situations?
Well, you have to keep in mind the ERS too. As we've mentioned, the sky is definitely getting cloudier, and I think rain, we don't know if the rain is going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised just by looking at the sky. So how much ERS do you use now? Because if the rain comes, you won't really need to use it that much. It won't be as powerful.
That's the question. If the rain comes in like the next 2 laps or so, you can just dump all that ERS and then just kind of gain it all up again once you have the rain that comes into play. So you got a fair point there, and it's really just about what their engineers are really telling them at this point. If Jeff is telling them that the rain is coming in the next 3 or so laps, then that gives them the cue to use all that ERS. But if it's not, then they got to make sure that they don't use it as much as they want to. So a few things to keep in mind here. We are going to be watching closely on Warriors and TJ, so we'll be keeping cameras on them a lot, as these two are battling for the championship, remember, and they're going to be battling currently for P13, P14. So what this is going to mean is that we're going to see and we're going to test how well they can come through the field without also wearing down their tires, using too much ERS, and a multitude of things as well. So this is going to be very interesting to see how these two drivers go through the pack, and if they're going to fight each other too much to try and get ahead. We'll find out how that all works out in due time, as we still have a long way to go in this Grand Prix. But I do want to mention that we are also streaming on YouTube, viewers, so if you are on there, send in some comments on this race. If you guys have any questions, even predictions as well, we're still taking those, and just anything you want to say, send it down in the comments below. That would be much appreciated. Also, like the stream and subscribe as well to the TCR YouTube channel. That would be much appreciated. So, we are now on lap 6. Safety cars should be coming in this lap. The medium compound runners that started the race on those compound tires have stayed out. That would be the Mercedes, currently leading the Grand Prix, Mefo, and we have Nico John, Ray Magic, Twisted Jack. All 4 drivers have stayed out on their respective medium compound tires, and they will continue to lead the Grand Prix. So that means that drivers like Charles, D'Angelo, Rockstar, and the other drivers will be making their way through the field, and we're going to see a lot more overtakes, which is going to be great. So, safety car officially in this lap, and I gotta ask the question, Camden, because you did start on pole. I know there has not been any safety cars in the silver class race, but I'm sure you have some experience of leading a safety car. What would you say for Mefo to do? Would he want to go early or go late?
Well, it looks like he's pushing it right now, so he might be going right there. I would have waited until a little bit after the final corner to trick them up, but it looks like he's going.
Yeah, actually, that was surprising. I thought there was going to be a lot more time for us to talk about that, but he's gone quite early. So, and actually, it's worked out really well. He's got a 1.4 second gap. That's the best thing he can do. Is we have STX on Gandhi Weeb, the Aston Martin, down the inside of the Ferrari driver. So Gandhi Weeb has been passed by the Aston, now in P9, as the Ferraris are falling down the order a bit. So it's going to be hard for them to pass, as we see the perfect situation going on for Haas right now. Charles has got ahead of Twisted Jack by quite a while, and D'Angelo is now fighting with his teammates as the McLaren is going to go side by side with Jack in the Haas. Oh, and there's contact!
Whoa! Big crash.
Huge crash that's involved Tebow as well, and Jack as well. So D'Angelo and Jack have made contact in a similar situation to what happened with TJ and D'Angelo. This time it's a Haas and a McLaren that has been involved, but that means that Tebow has got wing damage, and that is incredibly unfortunate.
Oh, and Warriors just got a 5-second for ignoring yellow flag. Oh, that is going to hurt his race.
And where was that? I didn't see a yellow flag anywhere. Well,
I guess the official saw one.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But yeah, that's unfortunate for that driver. I mean, Warriors down in P12, and another 5-second penalty is not going to help his race at all, which is incredibly unfortunate for the Williams driver. So we see D'Angelo going on Ray Magic. Could we see that McLaren driver sending it down the inside into the bus stop chicane?
Let's find out. Oh, he gets very close, does not make the move. There was not a great opportunity, and he's going to have to stay in P5.
He has to. Yeah, that's unfortunate for the McLaren driver. He's got a nice run, though, out of the last corner. He's going to try it round the outside of the Red Bull, down to the LaSauce we go. Maybe going for the switchback maneuver. No, he's going to keep it around the outside of the Red Bull of Ray Magic, and he gets ahead. D'Angelo up into P4, and that was critical for his race winning chances, as now, look who's right ahead of him. It's Charles, the race leader, soon-to-be race leader, actually. Once the two drivers in P1 and P2 do come into the pit lane, Charles will take over as race leader, and D'Angelo, if he can get up into P3, might be able to take the lead of the Grand Prix once those two drivers come into the pit lane.
Yeah, those two drivers are going to be crucial for Lil Charles. If he gets to them, he needs to make a move on them. Nico John right in front of him, but D'Angelo has really closed up on Lil Charles, so Lil Charles is going to have to make that move on Nico John pretty soon.
He definitely has to. It's going to be really critical for him to make that move. He's going to keep D'Angelo behind. And another driver who's involved in this as well is the Aston Martin of Rockstar. And actually, his teammate as well is not too far behind, STX. So the Aston Martins could be going for a double podium today, because currently they are going to be in P3 and P4 once everyone else does pit. And that will mean that it would be very close to seeing both of the Aston Martin drivers in the top 3.
And there is a gap between those Aston Martin drivers, and right behind STX is TJ, who is in that train of cars. He's within DRS. So, like you said, we're going to have to watch and see how they do here.
Yes, we'll see. TJ down in P11, Warriors down in P12. As we see, I think Little Charles got past Nico John, and now D'Angelo is going for the move on the Williams, and he gets ahead. The McLaren now up to P3, so that was critical for him to get ahead. So going back to what you were saying about TJ, definitely have to keep an eye on him. And actually, he could be going for a move very soon on Fire of Flow. The McLaren driver only a 10th behind the Ferrari and looking really quick, and he might be going for a move on You Having a Giggle as well. The Ferrari, the Alpha, and the McLaren could be going for a 3-wide moment here. Fire of Flow is looking for the move on You Having a Giggle, but they all have DRS, which is quite surprising. His Fire Up is going to go down the inside. Oh, and he makes contact. He went a little too deep.
How many times have we seen that this race? I think that's the third time we've seen this so far, is he has to sit in the track to find a lane to get back going. Man, I'm telling you, that corner, we've seen a lot of aggressive drivers through there, and I don't think it's worked out any of those times that they've been aggressive.
Yeah, it hasn't. It really has not. And yeah, you're definitely correct. That is 3 times during this race, so maybe drivers have to find a different way to get past, maybe going around the outside of the driver, or if they can't, just maybe backing off. It seems the inside line's not really the best place for drivers to make an overtake. And I think another thing that is affecting that is that drivers are running lower downforce setups, and so that means that they're going to have a lot of understeer through corners where you need higher downforce setups. So maybe by sending it into the inside of turn 5, which is that corner, maybe they're having understeer and they can't turn as much, and so they just steer right into the car to the left, which could be the case here. And if it is, it's incredibly unfortunate.
Absolutely. And to keep in mind, with turn 7 too, you have turns 8 and 9 right after there, which are both tough overtaking corners, so I can understand why people get desperate through turn 7.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense why. Completely. As yeah, we'll just see. Hopefully there's no more of those incidents that we have been talking about into that particular section, but we'll find out. As we see Rockstar going for the move on Nico John. Meanwhile, we also have Charles going for the move on Mifo as well. As we see the Mercedes down to P2, D'Angelo in the fight as well, and Rockstar did get ahead. As we see Ray Magic trying to get in the action as well, and just a lot of moves going on as TJ has now got ahead of You Having a Giggle, and Warriors is now right behind the Alfa Romeo, as well as the Williams driver gonna make a move maybe into the no-name corners. We see SCX and Ray Magic side by side.
Man, that was a bold move by STX. We are used to seeing that out of him. Typically an aggressive driver. Now he's got Nico John on those older tires in front of him. I'm sure he's going to be bold and trying to get by him as well. But keep in mind with TJ, right ahead of him is Got Any Weeb, one of his championship contenders. So we should see what happens when TJ tries to get by him.
Yeah, you're right. This is going to be interesting. As actually Got Any Weeb is going to try and go round the outside of Ray Magic, who made a little mistake, but I think the Ferrari has to back out of that. And now we're going to see this battle taking shape now, as TJ is right behind the Ferrari driver. Ray Magic in P7. Can Got Any Weeb make the move on the Red Bull driver before TJ gets the overtake, as he's right on the back of the Red Bull driver. He's going side by side down to the bus stop chicane we go. The Red Bull outbreaks himself. TJ now goes around the outside of the Ferrari driver, but the Red Bull is still there. Could we see a 3-wide moment between these 3 different drivers? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh, it's going to be contact. No, it's not. Whoa, that was so close. And there is a little bit of contact as TJ has now got damage. There was contact between the Red Bull and the Ferrari there.
Oh my goodness, huge point in the race. TJ has a lot of wing damage. They almost went side by side through Eau Rouge, and now You Having a Giggle is trying to get by him. That was, I can't believe we almost saw 3 wide right there.
Yeah, we nearly did it. It was so close to contact, and eventually they had to back out of that, but I think the corner that followed really hurt TJ, and now he's got massive wing damage, and this has just turned into a horrible weekend for the McLaren driver, who is battling away with wing damage, and now is going to have to pit and also survive the rest of the lap with this wing damage, which is incredibly unfortunate for the championship leader.
Well, we talked about it before as to what he would do to get by one of his championship contenders, nearly putting it 3 wide up the middle to make it happen. But what this has done, though, this has put Got-Any Weeb in a very vulnerable spot as he's 3 seconds behind 6th place.
Oh, and hold on a second. There is a Mercedes off the track. That is at the exit of, I do believe, turn 13, and the Mercedes driver is coming back on track. He will exit in P12. But that was not good for the safety car restart driver, who's down in P12 now, and it's going to have to pit.
Yeah, and we got STX right behind Nico John. It should be interesting as to when Nico John pits, considering that those tires are now 10 laps old. I would say probably maybe a couple more laps, and then he should come in and get some soft tires.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is pretty much the point where you come in to pit onto the softs, maybe around now or like lap 14. I think that's usually the moment you do come into the pit lane. But I don't know. Can Nico John defend against XTX? Oh, as XTX gets a 3-second time penalty, and that is really not going to help his race anytime soon, as he is going to get ahead of Nico John with a very nice overtake on the Williams. This should be pretty easy for the Aston, and yes, it is. He moves himself up into P4, as you having a giggle. Also got past Got-Any Weeb, so the two drivers swap positions, and some nice straight line overtakes, I'd say. I prefer the overtakes where we see him in the corners, like this one right here, as Warriors is trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari, as the Williams actually has to back off because there's not a lot of space to make the move on the Ferrari driver, but that was super close to Warriors getting ahead.
Absolutely, and another close battle that we have to keep an eye on is Rockstar, who is actually keeping pace with D'Angelo. He's going to spin just as I say that. Oh my goodness.
Commentator's curse, unfortunately.
That's my fault, Rockstar. I'm sorry, man. Oh, God.
Oh, that's super unfortunate. Rockstar, though, was battling for P2 at the time, and is now going to be down to P9. He didn't get any damage, but he is going to be falling down the order quite a bit. He's going to have to recover from that by exiting corners very nicely. Not like that.
Yeah, you might want to just get off his camera. Just focus on somebody else.
All right, I'll do that. But we see a nice battle going on for P5 right now. You having a giggle in P5, and Got-Any Weeb and Warriors still continuing with that one, as Warriors going to try to the inside, which becomes the outside line for Lasauce. Down to turn 1 we go. The Williams and the Ferrari side by side, and Warriors is going to get ahead for now. Got-Any Weeb down to P7, and Warriors is up into P6. This is critical for his championship contention, and he might be able to do this. Warriors might be able to get up into a top 3 position, which will be really good considering what has happened to his race so far.
And he does have DRS. I think he's a little too far back. You see, he's not using the ERS. He's going to set himself up for a different corner. Same with Got-Any Weeb, but Got-Any Weeb has a lot less ERS than Warriors.
Yeah, he does. 44% for the Ferrari driver, and Warriors has got 65. As we see, also a great battle going on, I think, between 3rd and 4th. Nico John in P3, holding off STX, but a little bit of contact, I think, between the two drivers.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Are they really going to go side by side through here? No, STX backs out. That was smart.
That was smart from the Aston Martin driver, but he's going to be under threat from You Having a Giggle, who is going for P4, which will be P3 once Nico John comes into the pit lane. So, and Nico John spins. STX has to break, and there's oh my goodness, that was so close to contact for the Alfa Romeo of You Having a Giggle, who was riding on board but that corner has really affected some of these drivers' races.
You Having a Giggle is still in P5, still close to Warriors after going off track, missing him by 2 inches. A great job in avoiding that crash. It's a shame for Nico John. I know he had to pit, but he was doing really well.
He was really doing well. That was going all so well for Nico John. I think those tires just gave out a little bit too much, went a little bit wide, and unfortunately that is his race battle for P3 really out. As Warriors gets past into 3rd position, as SCX has to maintain 4th for now. That Aston could be going for the overtake, but I have to also look at the battle for P1. D'Angelo versus Charles. The battle is 0.5 of a second separating the two drivers, but D'Angelo, I don't think is going to make the move on Charles. No, he does not. So we're going to quickly go back to the battle for 3rd, as Warriors is in 3rd. STX right behind the Williams driver. We see the Aston trying to go side by side. outside. Warriors defends the inside. This is perfect for STX, who's going to try and go around the outside, but no. Warriors keeps the position. The Williams keeps ahead, and now we'll continue on for the rest of the laps unless STX can go for a courageous move, and yes, he goes for it down the inside, and wow, as I say it, he went for a courageous overtake. That was absolutely phenomenal from STX. You could see Warriors kind of unsure of where STX was, so I think he kind of made a little mistake in the process of doing that, which helped STX to get ahead, but you know, that's racing, and STX is up into third.
I don't know how STX did that, to get on the brakes like that so late, to dive it into the corner without just missing the corner and locking up. Like, that was such a great move by STX, but Warriors is still right behind him. He's going to have DRS, so we should see how Warriors fights back.
Yeah, we'll see. He's in P4 right now, 0.3 of a second behind the Aston Martin driver. Remember, Slipstream is very powerful for around here, especially at this particular section. Into Blanchimont we go, as viewers keep an eye on this. Could we see Warriors going for a similar dive bomb on STX? No, he backs off. He cannot make the overtake on the Aston Martin 4, and now he's going to wait for the DRS zone at the Kemmel Straight to make that overtake.
Let's see what he does right here. It looks like he's making the move.
He's already going for it.
Can he get it done?
He does, but I think STX knew that. I think he's waiting for that DRS, so, I mean, it's fair, it's racing, as STX continues on, and will have the DRS on Warriors, and most likely will get past.
Oh, you having a giggle wants to say at this too. He's going to make a move. Can we see 3 wide?
3 wide, 3 wide. Oh, it's so close, but you having a giggle is going to make that overtake on Warriors and get ahead. And that was a very good move from the Alfa Romeo driver. 2 in 1 corner, basically, as the Alfa Romeo makes it up into 3rd position. But there goes STX down the inside, a similar move that he made. Warriors comes back. He knew STX was going to do that. He knew he was going to do that. They continue fighting into No Name, and there's a little bit of contact as well as Gotti Weeb is now into P5, I think. He is side by side with STX as the Ferrari gets ahead of the Aston Martin. This was interesting because STX made the overtake on the Williams, but Warriors knew that he was. He knew that he was, so he went for the switchback maneuver, tried to get the better traction, and it worked out. He's up into P4, and he stays there.
Man, you really have to respect the moves that STX are making. They're a little aggressive, but the fact that he's able to do it and he hasn't caused a single incident yet. I know he's back in P6, it didn't work out, but I could definitely say he's one of the more exciting drivers in Golden Class. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, like you said, he's a little bit more of an aggressive driver, but he makes the overtakes. He makes those overtakes work. He has done so many different times, and it's great to see. It gives us a lot of action to commentate on, which is awesome. So STX down in P6 right now. He will have the opportunity to make the move on Gottlieb Weave, I'm sure, very soon. He's very close to the Ferrari. Could he go for another send? No, he does not. He does not make that overtake. He should have the opportunity, though. Maybe up to Rouge. Let's find out.
I think he's going to stay in line, but D'Angelo, got to keep an eye on him too. He is right there with Charles, and they both have no penalties.
They do not. Yeah, this is a battle for the race victory that has been going on. There hasn't been any change in the last few laps, but D'Angelo is right there. You're right. That McLaren driver could be going for the move, maybe even on the next lap. Look how close he is to the Haas driver now, as we see STX and Gottlieb Weeb swapping positions there. The Aston now up into P5, and now he's got to chase after Warriors, who's right ahead. But remember, these 3 drivers in 3rd, 4th, and 5th all have penalties, where Gottlieb Weeb is just sitting right behind and saying, okay, I don't have any penalties, but I mean, if I just keep this up, I'll get onto the podium.
Absolutely, and back in P9, TJ did make a move on Tebow. He does have fresh softs, but keep in mind he has a 14-second gap to make up on Bagash, who is on those hard tires, and he's staying with Fire Up Flow. So let's see how close TJ can get to Bagash.
Yeah, TJ 13.6 now, so he is gaining the time. You're right. I think he is possibly got the chance, but he's got to gain like almost 2 seconds a lap. But if Bagash makes a little mistake, maybe gets a penalty or something like that, TJ might have the opportunity to be able to get into P8 in this Grand Prix. He's got to take every point he can get. But we have to look at TJ's teammate, D'Angelo, who's now right behind Charles, 0.5 of a second separating the 2 drivers. And now he's using a little bit of ERS. He's now trying to make that overtake on Charles, I think. But Charles using a little bit more, and I think he's used a little bit too much. He's down to almost 40% ERS, where D'Angelo has around 84% ERS. So look how much time he is gaining on the Haas. He is gaining a lot of time. I don't think he's going to make the overtake, and he's just going to stick right behind. But look how much ERS between the two drivers. It's almost half between the two drivers. That's how much of a difference there is between Charles and D'Angelo's ERS, and this might just give D'Angelo the perfect opportunity for him to make the move.
Warrior's trying to make a move on You Having a Giggle too. He's caught back up, but can't make it happen.
He can, and SDX is there as well. Is he going to try another move? He's going to try around the outside this time, as the Aston Martin has to back out of that one. And You Having a Giggle under threat from Warriors, who's still going at the Alfa Romeo. And SDX now in the fight as well. The two possibly going side by side into Puon. This is a three-way fight as they come down into turn 10. The Aston Martin right behind the Williams driver. You Having a Giggle stays in P3, but SDX going around the outside of the Williams, but Warriors keeps the position.
Wow, STX nearly lost the car going into turn 13 right there, was able to save it, but this has allowed Gottany Weeb to get back to both of them.
Yeah, this has allowed Gottany Weeb to get up there. That's great for the Ferrari driver. If he can just stay right behind, he'll definitely get the podium, but he may want to get that position on track. Now, real quickly, going back to the battle for P1, D'Angelo is as close as ever to the Haas driver, 0.3 of a second, separating first and second, and he's got 100% ERS. The difference between ERS is insane.
You know what's insane is STX. They just had a great battle in the chicane right there. He's not going to make this move, is he?
No, he's
too
not.
Far back. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried it, though.
Me too, actually. I mean, he's pulling off some incredible moves and might be going for another one now into a Rouge, possibly. But no, he's too far behind us. There goes the move for the race lead. D'Angelo and Charles make a little bit of contact, I think. The two drivers with the race lead of the Grand Prix side by side into turn 8, turn 7, all that section of the track. Charles and D'Angelo side by side. The McLaren and the Haas come down to the hairpin into No Name. It is Charles that keeps the position, and that was a great defense from the Haas driver. D'Angelo cannot make the overtake, and right now, while D'Angelo has the ERS, Charles pulling off some incredible defense against that McLaren driver. So while D'Angelo's got more ERS, Charles got some incredible defense as well, so this could help him to secure P1.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned it in a while, but Warriors really is not in a great spot to get this podium. Him staying behind You Having a Giggle is costing him, as he has 8 seconds in penalties compared to You Having a Giggle's 3. So he really needs to make something happen and get by him, but I don't know if there's enough time.
I don't know either. Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be really difficult for Warriors to keep a top 5 finish, to be honest, because Fire Up Flow is only 4.5 seconds behind. If he starts gaining like a load of time on those drivers, then Warriors might even lose a top 5. So we'll see what happens here. Anything can happen. And currently, I think Warriors will finish in P6.
Man, D'Angelo, I'm telling you, he has used so little ERS. We know he has the pace to get by him. It's just a matter of how he does it. We know little Charles defended well that previous lap. He's probably going to have to defend right here.
He definitely has to. Here goes D'Angelo using that ERS, using the DRS. Look at the power of that Mercedes engine on the Haas driver as we come around the outside. D'Angelo and Charles side by side. Almost contact between the two drivers, but D'Angelo gets the overtake up into P1. He leads the Belgian Grand Prix here at round 11. And what a great overtake from D'Angelo. Charles coming back at the McLaren driver, trying to get that overtake, but he doesn't, as STX and Dylan McGregor swapping positions. Overtakes all over the track right now as we enter lap 19. STX is now up into P4.
Oh my goodness, STX, well, I mean, he's in the podium spot right now with Warriors having those penalties, so You Having a Giggle really needs to make up some time, but really, if you think about it, I don't think either of them are going to get this podium because Gottany Weeb has no penalties. He's totally clean as of now.
He is, yeah, he really is. So this is going good for Gottany Weeb right now. Currently P6, will finish 3rd as of the result right now, as it looks like Sinha has left the session. I do believe he had already retired, though. But the Ferrari in P6, I mean, if this goes on like this, and if this gap is the same, he's got their P3, and this will be great for Ferrari.
Yeah, and I just noticed he was almost identical with his previous lap through Sector 2, Guy Weeb was, so he has the pace.
And sorry to interrupt you there, but Charles has made a little mistake. He almost crashed into the wall there. He saved the car, but he's lost a lot of time to D'Angelo, and now I think D'Angelo can start pushing. He can start pushing with that ERS. He's got the gap now to little Charles. If he can keep the position into turn 5, Charles gets a penalty.
Yeah, I saw that happen. Just getting aggressive in that scenario, you can't really blame him, though.
Yeah, I think it's coming down to the wire, and it's really just maybe frustration that he's lost the lead of the Grand Prix right now. I don't know. But the Haas driver under threat from D'Angelo as we see a yellow flag in Sector 2. I do believe that is the Aston Martin of Rockstar, who has had a difficult end to the Grand Prix. Down in P15 is STX going for another overtake on Warrens, and it's successful. STX is up into third.
Okay, he's going. Rockstar was really slow getting back up to pace. It looks like he is on his way. He's going to have to keep in mind the leaders, though. They are approaching him pretty quickly. But, yeah, looks like he's back going.
Yeah, he is back going. But, yeah, like you mentioned, those drivers in P1 and P2 are coming up to the Aston Martin driver. He's got some time, so it's not like a huge amount of pressure on the Aston Martin driver to get out of the way. But, yeah, he should be able to continue on. So we're on lap 20, 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Is there anything that Charles can do, or anything that maybe you having a giggle can do to maybe get up into a good position? What's your thoughts on this stage in the Grand Prix?
Well, I think they have to keep in mind their ERS. It looks like you having a giggle has more ERS compared to everybody else around him. He's around 40%, so this could be a good time to start using it. But for STX and Got Any Weeb, they really have to keep in mind how much ERS they're using, because they could be at a huge disadvantage these last couple of laps.
Yeah, you're definitely correct. We'll see. We'll see how this works out. You're definitely right about you having a giggle. He's got some ERS to spare, so he might be able to get up into a podium position. I think he's got to hope that these two make one little mistake or something like that, and he can get up there. But if they don't make a mistake, he's got to make an overtake. He's got to do it, and he's got to make like one of those STX overtakes as a penalty for Godney Weeb. Godney Weeb just got a penalty.
Well, here's Warriors going on STX right now. You having a giggles there? Three
wide.
Wow. I don't know how that worked out the way it did, but it looks like, look at little Charles. He's still right there with D'Angelo. He could make a move here.
Yeah, he could. Even with that 3-second time penalty, he could. And if D'Angelo makes one little mistake, Charles right there, and then he can extend on that gap and maybe even win the Grand Prix. We're on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix here today in the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And, D'Angelo, P1 right now, looking like to win the Grand Prix, but you're right, Charles is right there. He might go for this one, just out of overtaking the McLaren driver, maybe just to finish on track in P1, but we'll see.
Yeah, quick note with TJ, he just got that penalty. He has closed the gap down to the Alpine driver, but with that penalty, he's probably not going to get it.
Oh, and speaking of penalties, you having a giggle has just gotten a 6-second time penalty, and now most likely will move down, if he stays there, will move down to P6 or P5.
And yeah, we have started the final lap, and boy, little Charles, he is right there. If he can get to D'Angelo, he is going to make the greatest move you've ever seen.
Yeah, he might. You're absolutely correct. If he has that opportunity, he's probably going to go for it. Let's find out. 6 tenths separating the two drivers. Charles using everything he's got to try and make that move on D'Angelo. I don't think it's going to be enough, though.
Yeah, you saw he used a lot of ERS right there. I think a little too soon. He did make a lot of ERS happen before Eau Rouge, so that might have been his mistake right there.
Yeah, it might have been, and unfortunately, it's looking to be the case. So unfortunate. But, yeah, also, we are on the final lap of the Grand Prix. There is still a major battle going on. This is for the battle for third. Right now, it is the battle for fifth on track as STX looking for the overtake on you having a giggle. I think he wants a car in between himself and Godney Weeb, because that's the battle I was about to talk about. STX and Godney Weeb, they can still swap positions, and Godney Weeb can still go out on the podium.
Is he going to be able to have enough time to get up there, though? We've seen STX be aggressive. Will Got Any Weeb do the same? But you mentioned you having a giggle. He's kind of a roadblock right now.
He is. I think he is. And that's not going to help out. STX is Connie Weeb so close to the Aston Martin driver, but I don't think it's going to do anything. And we're going to see D'Angelo. What a great start. At the very start of the Grand Prix, he went to third to first and will keep it, and D'Angelo will win the Belgian Grand Prix here in round 11. McLaren extend their championship lead in the Constructors. Charles, what a great fight for P2 as Got Any Weeb and STX side by side. This is for the podium, but STX will get ahead, and by our calculations, STX will win, or will grab P3, not win. He will grab P3 of the Belgian Grand Prix, so here's your top three. D'Angelo P1, Charles P2, and STX completes the podium.
Wow, after everything that STX did, he gets a podium spot. I can't wait for that interview. So TJ does get a point, but oh man, this is going to shake up the points. With 3 races left, this really could be a 3-horse race. 4, really, if you include D'Angelo. I really want to see the points. It could be really, really close between the top 4.
Yeah, it definitely can be. I mean, this is going to be incredibly close. I think right now, I think they're like separated by around like 10 points between all the top 4, which is actually incredible to see there, because D'Angelo got the max points, so he's going to rise further up, and that puts both the McLaren drivers, Warriors and Got Any Weeb, in the title fight. With 3 rounds to go, we're in for probably one of the best championship fights in Golden Class of TCR.
So if my math is correct, Warriors will be within 4 points of TJ going into next week. Let me see. Got Any Weeb? Oh man, I think he's within 8 points, 7 or 8 points around that range. And if you include D'Angelo, who just got 25 points, he's going to be within 10 points of TJ. So, yeah.
Wow.
That pretty much explains everything that's going to happen the next 3 races.
Well, it's sure to be absolutely phenomenal. We cannot wait till the next one, but we'll find out how that all works out. Here's your results for the Grand Prix. D'Angelo is the winner ahead of Charles, and STX completing the podium. Got Any Weeb in P4, You Having a Giggle in P5, Warriors P6, Fire Up Flow P7, Bagosh in P8, T-Bill P9, and the championship leader TJ in P10 for McLaren. So we are now going to get our top 3 in for an interview. Camden, would you mind inviting our top 3 drivers in?
I will.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And while Camden's doing that, I want to say a big thank you to everyone watching either on YouTube or Twitch. Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot to be commentating for you guys. You know, we both, I'm sure, enjoyed commentating this one, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us. If you want to see more TCR content and are not yet subscribed or following Twitch or YouTube, definitely do that. Either subscribe to YouTube or follow here on Twitch, and like the video if you're over on YouTube as well. That would be much appreciated. So we're now going to get our drivers in for an interview. I'm going to quickly leave the session so I can get to the showroom and get their cars out on screen so you guys can see all that information on the cars and stuff like that. And we'll quickly have a word with our 3 drivers. I think we have a few of them coming in right now. We're just going to wait for all of them to join, and then we'll start everything. All right, and I think we have... How many drivers do we have in so far, Camden?
So I am trying to get STX in here, but we do have Lil Charles and D'Angelo. So once we get STX in here, we should be all set.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, viewers, just stick around for a bit. We're waiting for STX to join us. And while we have our 2 other drivers in here, if you guys can, please check your party settings. Make sure there's an option that says always allow. This is so we can hear you on YouTube and Twitch. It's just for now if you have it turned off for some reasons. We totally respect that. But if you can, turn it on so we can hear you. All right, and we'll give STX about a minute, and if he can't join at this moment, we'll start off with our second place finisher, and hopefully he joins while we're starting the interviews. And I gotta say, what a race that truly was. Camden, can you give us your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think that was the race of the season. Like everything we saw between all of the incidents, the change in the standings, just from start to finish, it was really opposite from yesterday's race, to where not only did we have a safety car, but we had all of the action, all the crashes. I think when we look back at the season, this is going to be the race that really kind of set the tone for what the championship battle was.
Yeah, absolutely agree with everything you said there. It really was one of the best races that I've seen here in TCR. You know, it was a great race, great action, overtaking, all that sort of thing. It was awesome to see. All right, so it looks like STX is not joining at the moment. We'll see if he can join us later on, but we're going to start off with our second place finisher in the Grand Prix, and that was Little Charles. So joining us in the booth is the second place finisher of the Belgian Grand Prix, Charles. How are you doing from that race? You finished second in the Grand Prix. Just talk us through how your Grand Prix went. Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of an up and down race for you, but you turned it around. You know, I think you got P2 in the Grand Prix, so congrats on that. I think we were talking through the stream, me and Camden, and we were saying penalties are so hard to get for around here, especially at certain corners like up at Radion and into Pouan as well. But I just want to say congrats on P2. What a race. And before I hand off the questions to Camden, I want to quickly ask, what's your thoughts on the upcoming race in Melbourne? It's Australia. We haven't been there for a while in TCR, if I'm not mistaken. But what are you thinking as we head to Melbourne for the next round? All right. Well, all the best in Melbourne for round 12 of the championship, and all the best for the rest of the season as well. So, Camden, do you have any questions for our second place finisher of the Belgian Grand Prix?
I do. So, Charles, congrats on another podium. So you started up front. Were up front for most of the race, and then, you know, D'Angelo was able to get by you late in the race. How were your tires? How did you feel about the soft tire, and how did you feel about the medium tire? Do you feel like you were faster on one set of tires compared to the other, or were they about the same for you? Yeah, absolutely. Another podium, like I said, you've been one of the fastest drivers as of late, so I know you're going to get that win before the season's over. So, yeah, man, congrats on the P2.
All right. Well, thank you to our second place finisher for joining us here in the booth. We're now going to move on to our first place finisher of the Grand Prix, D'Angelo in the McLaren car. I want to just talk to you about that first lap first, and then we'll get into the rest of the race. That start, I want to say, was absolutely phenomenal. You were P3, I do believe, and you got up to P1 on the first corner. So just talk us through kind of how that start went for you.
Yeah, the start was actually really good. I got good traction coming out of the first stage, and then once the second stage hit, I realized I had more speed than Charles coming out of that stage, and he left me the inside space going into the first corner, and basically I took advantage of it, kind of forced him out a little wide, leaving me on the curb, and basically got good traction and just went up towards Eau Rouge and Radeon. And yeah, it was a really good start, and it led to pretty much the rest of the race, which at some points I thought I wasn't going to be quick enough, but in the end I really was.
Yeah, I mean, that start was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. And I want to ask you now, after this performance in Belgium, P1, congrats on that, by the way. I don't remember saying that to you exactly yet. But anyway, I want to ask you about the championship, because you are now in the hunt for the championship. With 3 rounds to go, how are you feeling about that? Do you think you have a chance of becoming the Golden Class Season 13 champion?
I believe I have a shot. I mean, you always best as your last race, and basically you always have a fighting chance as long as you're not completely knocked out. We head to Australia next week, which is actually a pretty strong track for me. So I'll try to make sure I can either get a win or get some high scoring points. So it's really up in the air. All I'm really worried about is helping my teammate, because he has a better chance than me, and also helping our team in the constructors.
Yeah, exactly, because you guys are driving for the constructors title this season as well. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All the best for the championships and for the rest of the season as well. And Camden, do you have any questions for our race winner today?
I do. So, D'Angelo, congrats on the P1, a huge day for you in points. I just want to talk about the last couple of weeks, because you've really made a huge stride as of late. Obviously, you've been quick all season, but a couple weeks ago, you were 33 points out of the championship lead, and now, if my math is correct, you're within 10 points. So has it been that the last few tracks have been really good for you, or do you think you're finding your rhythm here late in the season?
I believe it's a little bit of both. I mean, yes, I love the past few tracks that we've been racing at. Portimao, if it didn't rain, it probably would have been a different story. But other than that, the rhythm, I feel like I'm in a really good chance to try and compete for the title now. After the first race I raced this season, I did win, and then I had a couple of terrible finishes, accidents, and stuff like that. But now I found my rhythm. Especially after Abu Dhabi, I set my standards high for the rest of the season, and yeah, basically it's on to the next race, and hopefully we can keep challenging for the championship.
Yeah, and I've actually got one more question, because you mentioned that you and TJ are within 10 points of each other, and there's 3 races left. So how these next 3 races are, like, does your scenario change to how you race him, or are you going to race him the same, knowing that you both are in the championship fight now?
I don't know. I'll have to talk to him about it, because I feel like as soon as we clinch the constructors, which it might be able to happen next week, I'm not really sure. But if that happens next week and we clinch constructors, I feel like both of us are going to look at each other and say, we're racing out. We're racing as much as we want. It's championship time for the last 2 races, and it really depends if we clinch the constructors or not next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another great race for you, a P1. Congrats on the win. A huge points day for you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you to our drivers for joining us here in the booth for a quick interview. I think that concludes everything here today from the Golden Class Belgian Grand Prix. That was round 11 of the Season 13 Championship of Trinity Competitive Racing, and that was at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. So what a race. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you to all our drivers that raced today in TCR. I also want to say a big thank you to Camden. You were just awesome, man. I cannot wait to be commentating with you again. I just have a lot of respect for you, of just commentating with you. I just feel awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Your electricity was through the roof.
Oh, thank you.
Like, it was incredible. Like, obviously the action was tremendous today, but I think your commentary was half the reason why the action was as good as it was.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. Well, yeah, like I said, can't wait to be commentating with you again, and can't wait to be commentating to all our viewers in the future. Join us for the next one in Australia. We'll be heading to Melbourne for the Albert Park circuit, and we'll be heading to the Australian Grand Prix for round 12 of the Season 13 Championship. But we're not done with Belgium quite yet. Join us next time, viewers, for the Platinum class. That's tomorrow, exactly the same time as we see those drivers take to the grid and compete for the overall victory. The fastest drivers in TCR will be witnessing tomorrow. Same exact time. It's at 8:45 Eastern time, and that is at 5:45 Pacific time. And yeah, I think that's going to conclude things from here today at TCR. So from myself, Formula Jonah, and from Camden Luca, we'll be signing off from the Trinity Competitive Racing League for now, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.